What's up? Welcome back to Car Talks with Jazzy. Apparently, this is the only time I have free to really sit down and talk like I like to do with you guys. So I'm going to take advantage. Christian is an OT right now. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about early intervention. So if you guys are new to my channel, or just to kind of give a refresher, Christian is 5 years old now. When he was 18 months, or even before he turned 18 months, we were a little bit worried about his delay. And as soon as he turned 18 months, his doctor did refer us to early intervention. There was no talk about autism yet. And let's just try to get him caught up to what he was delayed on, is what our intention was. So before I get started on giving you guys some information on early intervention, my thoughts on it, my experience, and what I would love to have known in the past, I wanted to talk to you guys about something really exciting for me. I wanted to let you guys know that I did decide to start a Patreon page to try to get more involved as a autism community with people and a little bit deeper. I would love to do a little bit of a podcast style video there, post to try to engage with our friends, go a little bit more in depth in writing blog posts for you guys about autism, about my experiences, about any tips and tricks that I have. I feel a little bit more like it'll be a personal page for me to be able to engage with fellow autism parents. It's hard to share a lot or know what to share here on YouTube because there are a lot of people that just kind of click just to click, and there have been some crazy comments. Some like potty videos have had like crazy weird people come on to that video or those videos. So I definitely don't want to talk personal things on YouTube per se in regards to more sensitive matters. I would love your support in joining our Patreon page if you can. If not, totally understand. Thank you so much for even coming in to watch our videos. Supporting us that way is more than enough. But if you are interested in more in-depth from us, more sit down talks, more day-to-day posts, definitely check out our Patreon page. I will leave the link down below. I'm very excited and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to do more personal type things and get to know you guys better. So I hope you guys are excited as well. And if you can't, like I said, I totally understand, and I appreciate your support just coming and subscribing to our channel and wanting to hear from us and learn from us and just hang out with us. So thank you so much. Now onto the video. The first thing I would like to say, I wrote some stuff down just because I sometimes can just blabber or babble or just talk and never get to my point. But my first point is that early intervention is not just for children on the spectrum. Early intervention is more so the first step to children that have delays to try to pick up and get them where they need to be. So when I got when I got my son into early intervention, there was no mention of autism. His doctor just said that he was showing delays, and it was up to us if we wanted to get him into early intervention to try to get those delays to where they need to be. And the first thing that I thought was, of course, I want to get him into early intervention. Why not? But I come to realize that a lot of people find it like a little bit like accepting that there's something different or wrong with your son or daughter, and that's not the case. I would always approach it as just getting more help. Don't see it as I'm gonna get a diagnosis and nothing's wrong with my child, because first of all, there's nothing wrong with your child with a diagnosis or not. You always want to do what's best for your kiddo, so try to leave that negativity aside and just try to do what's best for your kids. The second thing that I would like to mention is that early intervention, when they talk to you about it, or at least when they talked to me about it almost 3 years ago, it made it seem like it was therapy for your kiddos. And the first thing that I would like to mention or say in my experience, and currently to my experience from what I've seen with my younger clients, is that it's not necessarily therapy for the kids per se, which they will work with your kid, but it's more to work and have the parents learn what to do to try to help your kids in the daily life that you guys, us as parents, we're with our kids more than anything. So it's more to teach us how to better work with our kiddos. So early intervention, a lot of times they're really young, of course, so you'll work on more functional communication skills. So you'll work on pointing, you'll work on like asking correctly, you'll work on frustration tolerance, and like it's more natural play based, so you won't see a lot of like table work and things like that. So they will mostly come over to your house. It's for an hour. From what I remember, it's an hour. and it's every like 2 weeks, so it's not even very frequent. So that alone, like if they were to just come once a week, it's not enough to really make like a big change. But in that hour that they come, they talk to you, they ask you what's happening, what you need, what you would like for them to help you with. And if it's like, if your kiddo pulls you to things, they'll help you figure out what the best way to teach them to request your presence is. So like, instead of pulling, you can tap me. Instead of screaming for something, you can, you know, use your words, like say toy or help, or like sign language or pegs, whatever functional communication there may be. Even if it's gestures instead of crying, they'll help you understand what you can do to help. So it's more like teaching you, not teaching necessarily them. The third thing that I would like to talk about regarding early intervention is don't expect a big change, because I remember when I was starting early intervention, I kind of had this feeling of like, oh, it's going to be amazing. They're going to teach us so much. He's going to learn so much. But in reality, like I said, it's teaching us, but it takes time, and it takes more than anything you being very consistent with your kiddo. To this day, even with like his therapies that are like ABA full-time and speech and OT, it takes us doing it at home for it to really work. So don't expect a miracle. Expect to learn, and expect for try to follow through as much as you can, because that's where you'll see the changes. Because early intervention can teach you how to like have your son point. They can teach you like the basics of potty training. They can teach you the basics of communication, but unless you are doing them yourself at home, you won't see a big change. The fourth thing that I would like to say is, I think I already mentioned it, they don't come often. So when you're starting early intervention, I believe you might see OT once a month, you might see speech once a month, and you might see like a regular therapist that might come to help you with like functional communication. Kind of like an RBT, you may see them twice a month. So that's not enough to see a big change. So that's why I'm saying it's mostly to teach you. The main principle of early intervention from a personal experience is to try to teach the parent how to better understand your child and understand their needs, and how to make them learn a functional way to request whatever is not being functionally requested, if that makes sense. And then the fifth thing is very important, I want to say. So if you do early intervention, and then if at that some point in there you do get an autism diagnosis, please start preparing for the exit of early intervention. When they turn 3, they exit out of early intervention, at least here in Las Vegas. I would say within like 6 months before their exit, start planning what therapies you are going to look into. So if it is ABA, just know that there is a wait list most of the time for ABA. Regardless of like the state you live in or the country, there's usually a wait, from what I've experienced and what I've heard. So try to plan to start looking into what your insurance will cover. Start preparing for the financial like burden that it may be. Start looking for resources, and start looking into what therapies you want, and like not shop around, but start researching, calling and seeing like, hey, are you guys more play based? What I'm trying to say is, especially like for like ABA and a lot of these services, it feels like there's a wait list and you just want to get in anywhere. If you don't get a good reading from the BCBA, you can always say no thanks. Like if they're like, no, I'm going to repress stims, I'm going to sit at the table, they're going to not do any natural play-based therapies, like, I would say no thanks, hard pass, I'd rather wait. And if you do end up getting a therapy and you don't enjoy or you don't feel like a connection with the RBT, you can always request a new RBT. This is all to say to prepare for the exit, but also know that there's choices. So do your research, know what your insurance covers. So yeah, those are my 5 kind of takeaways. I know that early intervention, when I got it, it seemed like, what are they even doing? They're just playing with Christian. And my husband would be like, they're just playing. We could do that. But everything is for a reason, and just try to keep an open mind and keep an open ear and try to take everything in, because you doing it is the most important thing. I know that it helped us a lot, and we were very fortunate in starting ABA immediately without prepping. But knowing what I know now, I just know that we got lucky. There could have been a big wait list, and I'm so thankful that I was able to look into resources and get financial help, because it is so expensive. And I know that we all just want what's best for our kiddos, and sometimes it's so hard, to try to balance everything. And know that if you're feeling the stress of so many appointments, we've all been there. I know I was so stressed when I first got it, because our life is one thing, and then we get our autism diagnosis, and it's therapy, evaluations, all these things are just thrown at you as a new autism parent. So hang in there. It gets easier and you get used to your new life. And my daylight is kind of fading away, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave you here. I hope you guys got some good information out of this video. Early intervention, I feel, is very important. Don't be afraid to get early intervention. Don't think that this is like, oh, you know, like I'll get this means for sure that my son has something or my daughter has something. It's just to help, just like you would get a tutor for your son or daughter that is struggling at school, just like you would try to do anything to help your child not have to stress as much, or like try to help them do the best that they can. You know, just think of it that way. You're doing the best that you can to help your kiddo. So I hope I didn't talk too fast, which I think I did. I felt like I was a little bit too hyped. Sorry. But thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Pretzel. That does the helper in the back doesn't say a word. The only person talking is the person in front of him. And all I'm going to say is the name of the item. I'm not going to say, give me the card, yay, mijo, woohoo. I'm just going to say pretzel, okay? Do you want to practice? Pretzel. And she said pretzel. That's how it would look like if I was by myself. Did you see me kind of helping her? Pretzel. It's a little slower. As soon as he gives me the pretzel and my card touches, the card touches my hand, the pretzel should be touching his hand. It should be a very automatic and instant thing.
Yay. Turn it around, babe.
Good job. Do the orange. Orange? All the way? Okay, good job.
Are you ready? Show me good looking. Do this. Uh-oh, that's not it. Do this. Good! That was better looking! Very nice! Do this. Oh, good looking! Ready? One more time. Do this. There you go! Good job, Christian! You thought I was going to tickle it.
Yeah, he did.